When I first started out in the gym, I used to only do 3 sets, 10 reps every time because that's what my plan in my head was to do. I came across a video talking about progressive overload, what it means, and how to implement it in my gym routine. So today I'm going to talk about the different levels of progressive overload with you guys and how you guys can add them to your fitness routine. I wish I knew this when I was first starting out in the gym because my muscles probably would have grown a lot more if I did this sooner than later on. But you know what? It is what it is. So we have 5 different levels, but before I get into all the levels, I want to break down what progressive overload means to you. When you gradually increase the weight, frequency, or number of reps in your strength training routine. Don't think like when I tell you these levels that you have to go in order by them, but these are 5 different things that help progressive overload. So the first one is reps. When you're at the gym and you're working out and you're doing 3 sets, 8 reps, and your weight, let's just say your weight is 130 pounds. So instead of doing the same amount of reps, higher the reps with the same weight and see how many more reps that you can do. So if you're doing 6 to 8 reps, try and do 10 to 12 reps instead with that same weight. Level 1, you have the reps, you have the same weight, and you're doing more reps. Level 2 is with weight. So now that you're doing those 10 to 12 reps with 130 pounds, try and higher the weight and lower the reps. So you were doing 130 pounds, 12 reps. Let's do 135 pounds at 6 to 8 reps. You can do this with anything, right? You're doing tricep extensions, bicep curls, leg extensions, anything like that. You can increase your weight and lower the amount of reps that you do. Level 3 is sets. If you're doing 3 sets and 8 reps each, add another set with that same weight. So instead of changing the weight, add another set. Okay, so the next level that we're gonna talk about is tempo. So this is basically how fast or slow that you're lifting the weights. So a good example of this would be like lateral raises. You're gonna lift the weight up 2 seconds. You're gonna pause at the top, hold it for 1 to 2 seconds, and then you're gonna lower it down 2 seconds and wait. And then you're gonna do that again. Instead of like rushing, you're focusing more on your form and you're gonna put more tension on your muscles and you're not gonna swing the weights. So you're gonna focus more on the movement and the control. Lateral raises specifically, it's really hard to increase the weight with them because it just in general, like I see so many videos and they're like it's a huge deal if you go up, 3 pounds in a lateral raise because it's just a lot of work. If you can't add more weight to it, instead of adding more weight, and if you can't do more reps, try tempo. Hold that tension on your muscles. So add more time when you're doing it and focus on your control. Once you do this after a while, they'll be able to lift more weight because you've been building your muscles under that tension. Something that you need to remember is make sure that you're eating carbs before your workouts. I always eat a banana before the gym, and I've noticed actually it helps me a lot perform better in the gym. I don't feel lightheaded, I don't feel dizzy, I don't feel like burnt out. So bananas, honey, rice cakes, if you have time to eat a quick meal before the gym, but also if you're gonna eat lunch before the gym, I would eat carbs like pasta or rice 2 hours prior to the gym. I wouldn't eat it 30 minutes before the gym because you probably won't feel very well in the gym. Honestly, working out, I cannot work out on a full stomach. That's just me, but for me, something light like a rice cake is really good. Gives me that energy and it's not heavy. Same with banana. It's quick, it's easy. Another thing, stay hydrated, drink plenty of water. You don't want to feel dehydrated. I've turned away from using a lot of pre-workouts because my body just cannot handle it. I get shaky and I feel like lightheaded. I need to find a non-stim maybe, I don't know. I do pretty well without any pre-workout, to be honest with you. So level 5, rest times. You have compound lifts and you have isolation lifts. Compound lifts take more energy. This would be things like squats, deadlifts, bench press, pull-ups. You would need more time to recover for compound lifts compared to isolation lifts. Isolation lifts would be like bicep curl, tricep extensions, leg extensions, hamstring curls, and isolation lifts focus on targeting one specific muscle compared to compound lifts that target many muscle groups. Isolation lifts focus on growing specific muscles. They don't require as much energy, so therefore you don't need as much rest time in between isolation lifts. So like you could do bicep curls and then go straight into tricep extensions. That is a good way to feel the tension, increase the intensity. I've done it and I feel the burn. It feels really good. I do want to bring up the importance of resting between your sets anyways, because your muscles need a break to perform well. Right? If they're burnt out, you're not gonna be able to do as many sets, as many reps. And there have been studies shown that the more time that you take in between your lifts, you will perform better. I used to only take a break of like 20-30 seconds. I'll purposely make effort to like take a minute and a half, 2 minutes sometimes in between the lifts. It depends on what I'm doing, but I will always put a break in between my sets. If you can't increase your weight, try increasing the amount of reps that you do. If you can't increase your reps, try and increase the tempo, which the tempo is focusing on your control, building the tension on your muscles. If you can't do that, then decrease your rest time. You'll feel the burn if you decrease your rest time in between, specifically on isolation lifts. Make sure you're resting enough for compound lifts, because compound lifts you're using a lot more energy and you're targeting a lot more muscle groups than just isolation lifts. Some advice, honestly, like I said, if you're lifting 10 to 12 reps, 3 sets, drop it down and lift and higher the weight. Instead of lifting, 130 at 12 reps, drop the reps down. Lift 135, do 6 to 8 reps, and then over time, you keep doing that over and over, you will increase your weight. Because if you don't do this, your muscles have no way of growing because they're just lifting the same thing. They're used to the same movement. So if you're a beginner in the gym, I highly encourage to do this. If you have any questions, let me know down below in the comments. I will be happy to address them. Any progress is good progress. Even if it's, 1 pound added, you're still making progress. I hope you guys enjoyed today's video. If you did, please give a thumbs up, subscribe if you're new, join the Kick Crew, and I will see you guys in the next video. As I always say, stay positive. Peace.